Hot Top Sports where the takes don't miss. The prof with the stats, the champ with the fist. Water bringing fire, cowboy towel riding bold. Bulls calling bets, watch the stories unfold. And it's truly eyebrows running the show. It's Hot Top Sports, baby. Let's go.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to High Top Sports. Happy Wednesday to all the beautiful people out there. We're halfway through the week. We're one day closer to our spring game, our great weekend that'll be happening next week. And we're one day closer to the 40, one day closer to Cody being faster. A lot of great things. We had practice. I think it was practice number 10. We had our coach talk some more. Had some cool tidbits from there. And then we've got a special guest joining us this morning. Kind of seems to be a little bit of a tradition now on these Wednesday mornings. Seth Farner joined us. He was at the clinic this past weekend with a lot of great coaches. Love to hear just kind of how that event went. Some things that he heard that he found interesting from these coaches. He spoke a little bit about this already on Gator Days podcast. Excited to have him on our show this evening. And for you guys, Cody was on time, so we're back on track, back on a little bit of a streak here. But good morning, gentlemen. Good morning, Cody, and good morning, Seth. Happy to have you back, Seth, in a different facet this time. But good to see you, man.
Yeah, always good to be back. I'm not going to tell everybody I beat Cody in this morning, but that's I wouldn't say that. But
yeah,
wow.
I love it. Seth is just. I mean, we were worried. Seth and I were here like well before the time to go, and I was like, I couldn't get any texts. I was like, there's no way this is going to happen twice. If it happened twice in a week, I was going to have myself a heyday. I was kind of like low key. There's part of me was like, I hope
you wanted it. You wanted it.
Yeah, 100%. I wanted the failure. No doubt. Boys and girls, this show is brought to you by PrizePicks. Be sure to check out PrizePicks. We'll talk about them later on in this show. But Seth, man, you were there this past weekend. We were kind of talking a little bit before the show, which those conversations are always fun, about how I felt like this was the first that Florida had done anything like this. And you're like, well, Florida's done this. Billy's done this before. I'm like, well, it's first that I've heard about it, or at least had enough care to talk about it. And I think it's not necessarily that this was, the event wasn't anything probably different, like you were kind of alluding to. It just feels like the single thing of marketing, talking about it, sharing it, is the main difference. The guests too. I think the guests were a little more intriguing for us to go, wow, Gruden was there and Urban was there, and like we were a little more ears perked up of wanting to know kind of how that went. But the coverage of it, and it doesn't take much to do what they did, right? Just take a photo. You have one of the most right now, I would say, sensational past coaches in John Gruden on staff. They took full advantage of that. I assume you didn't get a cool care package like Gruden did.
I did not. I got a lunch from Sonny's. That was
okay.
Nice. Yeah.
Sonny's
pretty
barbecue.
good.
Oh, I think our boy's there, right?
Yeah,
Our
Shannon,
boy's
right?
head.
That must be,
yeah, he's
that
the head
Yeah.
barbecue master.
Yeah, so that was our care package we got. Yeah,
That's
guess
solid.
that's close. That's close. Well,
Can't beat brisket and wings.
yeah, you can't beat that.
it wasn't that, but it was all right.
Okay. All right. We'll talk to us, Seth. For us peasant people that don't get to go to these cool events, what is kind of the gist of it, and what were some big takeaways that you took from it that Florida fans would like to hear?
Yeah, so just to start, Billy did this every year. It just the lineups weren't as good. So like he had Matt Patricia be his keynote speaker one year, Patrick Graham, who's the defensive coordinator of the Raiders one year, Rich Bisaccia, who's like a special teams coordinator, longtime NFL special teams coordinator. So decent coaches, like good coaches, but not like big names. So this is probably the most stacked lineup they've had ever since I've been kind of going to these. I went to one under Mullen. It was just his staff. I do remember I got a look of death from John Hevesy when I walked later after the quarterbacks finished. I went to walk over to the offensive line to hear that. Hevesy said something about me. Everyone laughed, so I turned around and left. That was an experience. But
wait, about you running laps?
No. So I went to the quarterback meeting, and I was like, all right, the quarterbacks are done. I'm going to go, hear what the offensive linemen are talking about. Just trying to learn, sharpen my sword, I walk over there, Hevesy mumbles something. Everyone turns back and looks at me and kind of laughs. And I'm like, all right, I'm just going to go. I'm going to go somewhere else. So, yeah. So that was fun.
Yeah.
FC, maybe not the nicest guy, it seems like.
Yeah.
But this was the best lineup they've ever had at Florida. So Sumrall started off. First of all, we got to go to morning practice, which was fun. It was a light practice, but we got to go see that. Then the strength staff talk. So that hasn't happened before. Rusty Witt kicked it off, and then a bunch of the different strength guys answered questions, kind of went through their process. So it was good to hear that kind of stuff. And then Sumrall came up after lunch. He talked briefly. I think Liam Cohen, you saw they just did the picture the other day. I know, the annual Big Cat breakdown came out of the coach's picture. So he had to go to that meeting out in Arizona. So he came up first. He spoke for 50 minutes. He was really good. We were talking about this off air. He went straight like X's and O's. He didn't talk about the Jaguar way or anything like that. He went straight into X's and O's, talked about red zone passing, and then a couple explosive pass concepts. Then Urban came up after him and talked kind of leadership stuff, kind of his leadership style, how important messaging was to the players, and just kind of different things more on his was more like cultural, but some of it like head coach, like how can you reach your team best and things like that. And then Gruden came up and was kind of all over the place, but he was awesome. He told us how much he hates the Atlanta Falcons after he went through a couple clips. That was fun, but he was just like, what you see is like what you got for an hour straight uncut. So he was great. And then after that, we got into the coordinators. You broke off. You could go see Brad White or listen to Buster. So I stayed and listened to Buster. He was great. And I can get more in detail on these guys if you want. And then after that, it broke down by position. So Joe Craddock came up and spoke after that. So we got to hear him talk. He kind of went through his drill stuff, and it was really good, and answered some questions. And then they had a social at the end of it. So
Go ahead, Cody.
The Joe Craddock thing really interests me because he took essentially he took a demotion to come to Florida. And he had already, been at some big time stops as a coordinator. What's kind of the feel and jive there with Joe Craddock and how he's building this quarterback room?
Yeah, I thought he was good. So the interesting thing on him that I got kind of from the clinic that I didn't really know before, he was apparently coached by a Spurrier disciple in college. So I went and looked at it after he mentioned it. G.A. Mangus was his offensive coordinator, I believe, at Middle Tennessee State when he played. Mangus coached for Spurrier for a little bit, coached quarterbacks under him. So because he does have a drill that he calls HBC, and it's a drill that I know the guy I played for, Kerwin Bell, I played for him in high school. He had the same drill, and he GA'd for Spurrier as well. So that was kind of cool to see that connection. But he went basically through all his drills and kind of showed, hey, this is the drill, and then I'm going to show you where it shows up in practice. So, we're not going to do anything that doesn't show up, in real life situations, right, in the real game situations. So he showed us the drill, and then here's where it shows up when we get the team drills. He said once the season gets going, they're going to have it. Here's the drill. Here's it in practice. Here's it in the game. And they're going to get to where here's it showing up in an NFL game. And he said this is kind of part of their recruiting pitch is they show kids, hey, this is us doing this drill. Now, here's why we do it. Here's us against ourselves in practice. The drill, look, it's the same exact drill, this pocket moving drill. Here it is. And then, all right, here's that drill in a game. And now here's somebody in the NFL doing that exact same movement. That's why we drill it. So they use it in recruiting to kind of pitch their development of players and how they do stuff. So I thought that was really interesting.
Real quick on that, have you seen it from any of the clips, kind of small sample sizes already, or have you seen it have a positive impact on these guys? Given again, I know we've seen very little.
So
but
all the practice clips were from this year's spring practice.
Okay.
So he had here's us doing the drill in practice. Here's the drill showing up when we go to team in practice this year already. So they had clips from spring practice this year of almost every drill hole shows up.
Yeah, I guess because they wouldn't have anything else from. I guess they got to use it from Tulane. But do you feel like those quarterbacks in that room look? I mean, you only know Team Trammell, I guess, but
yeah,
How is that? Do you see how it has had an impact already for those guys?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, they did show clip. It was, and so the practice we got to saw that day was very special teams focused. We did get to see 2-minute drill, and they operated. I guess it was the first day they operated 2-minute. It was super smooth, but it was hard to kind of see those kind of little nuances in the pocket. But the quarterbacks all got the ball out pretty fast and went down and scored pretty easily actually in the 2-minute drill. So, but you did kind of see him show up. You did hear. If I'm just going off the drills, I would think Philo's ahead because there's a lot of Philo showing up on those drill tapes. And the times that Trammell was mentioned, it was like, yeah, we're working on this with Trammell, working on that with Trammell. But
careful, they're gonna,
But it seems like
you gotta be careful.
That could have just been a quirk of the tape because the very next day Trammell comes out first with the ones first scrimmage. So. I don't know. It was, and then Will Griffin got some love too in there because somebody asked about Will Griffin, and apparently he's doing.
Were you at the scrimmage?
I did not go to the scrimmage. No,
oh, okay.
I just heard. Yeah, I've heard reports. Unfortunately, yeah. I thought about it. I would have to waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning again, and drive up there probably. So
we've heard conflicting reports from the scrimmage in regards to the quarterback room. That
have you?
Well, yeah, because Harris says, and again, I think it's close. It's kind of the consensus is that it's pretty, head-to-head battle. But Philo still has a small edge, and then we heard that Trammell has a small edge. What did you hear outside of Trammell coming out with the ones?
I heard, all I've heard is, and when I was on with Dave, he was kind of going through it, that Philo threw a couple picks.
Yeah.
One was not his fault. And then I think Sumrall even talked about it yesterday in his presser. One was kind of a good play by Ben Hanks down the sideline, and then the other one was like a tip ball or something, so not really his fault. But in practice, that's what in the 2-minute I was kind of looking. Philo went first, Jones went second in 2 minutes. So they both went down and scored touchdowns. So it was pretty. I really think it's really even. I don't think anybody's quite pulled ahead yet, and it's so early in practice too. It's kind of. It's not quite. There'll be some time for that stuff to happen.
I know that there's been some concern with Philo and arm strength and velocity. What did you? I know you said it was kind of hard to see, but between the two, what did you see there? Just letting it rip.
Well, he threw on the touch. I think they ran 4 verts. It was hard. There's so many. This was the best lineup they've had. This is also by far the most people they've ever had at one of these.
Oh, okay.
So it was somewhat difficult to see at times, through 400 bodies. I think they ended up having 400 guys there, and everybody's kind of surrounding the practice field. So you're trying to kind of find the best spot. But Philo threw his touchdown, I think, on 4 verticals, and he kind of hit the outside receiver on it. And it was a good throw, but it was kind of fluttery. It wasn't like a tight spiral. And you're like, oh, okay. And then Trammell comes out and is throwing tight spirals. Like, oh, all right. But then we would start watching the drill tape, and Philo's just throwing darts, just moving all over the place, just ripping throws. So, I don't think either guy is maybe throwing 80 yards in the air or anything like I don't think we have any Joe Miltons or anything like that.
We got Will Griffin.
But I think they're both have plenty of arm strength. I wasn't around long enough in person to notice a real difference. I think they can both rip it.
What were I'm glad you asked that question about Craddock because I felt that was a very interesting one. Anything else that was kind of like a tidbit maybe from Brad White or other coaches on the staff that perked your ears up that you liked hearing or maybe had questions about?
Yeah, so Buster before we went to Craddock, Buster talked for an hour. He went through some scheme stuff. The one of the more interesting things that Buster said is he's just kind of talking through stuff, and he's starting to say, all right, you're going to go, after I'm done, we'll break out and you go to the other position coaches. He's talking through a scheme. And then kind of out of nowhere, he just says, I've been on a lot of staffs. I've only been here 4 months. It's the best staff I've ever been on. Just kind of unprompted, kind of says that. Says there's a lot of young coaches you're going to look up in a couple of years. A lot of these guys are going to be head coaches and coordinators. So he's kind of like, hey, you're going to have a good session when you guys break off. So, but that was kind of, it didn't seem like the usual clinic, like we've got the best staff in the country. It was very kind of out of nowhere, unprompted. So that was interesting. And then I think the other big takeaway from Buster is basically
doing some great staffs too, which is
yes, yeah, that's what I'm like. He's been on some good stuff.
Yeah.
The other big takeaway from him was he was kind of like having a bad offensive line is not an excuse. Or having guys like you cannot say we can't block that as an excuse for having a bad offense. So he's like, you need to build stuff that if those guys aren't great, you got to build stuff that splits the defense in half or gets the ball in space fast or requires them to block less people. So that I think that speaks to kind of his flexibility. And like you're not just going to run the same stuff over and over and just be like, well, we got to recruit better linemen. We'll get them next year. But we're not going to be good on offense this year because of that. It's kind of his take was kind of, okay, if they're not good, we'll do something else where they don't have to block as many people. He talked about getting an empty, right? We don't have to block as many people if we're an empty. Or, hey, we're going to fake a run and throw the screen out there. If they don't respect the screen, we'll throw the screen. If they do respect it, now we have less guys blocking the run game. So, and there are different ways of thinking about offensive football, but the way I always try to do it, and it seems like he's kind of a similar mind, is you try to make it as easy as you can for the offensive line. And then from there, the quarterback, and then everybody else kind of figures it out from there. Some guys try to make it easier on other people. I think if you can make it easy on the offensive line and kind of make them have to do the same things over and over and block as few people as possible, that's where you'll have success. And he kind of seems to be along those lines as well.
Does that hurt Buster's offense? Because I know he likes to just throw a lot of different things at you and run schematic schemes. He's not a guy that's just going to run power all the time. You know, they run everything. It looks like they're running the same play, but it's never really the same play. And so do you think that a bad offensive line, especially with he had a pretty good one at Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
Do you think that hurts his offense, or do you think that's why we're seeing some of the stuff with Jaden Ball and the Wildcat / option and stuff like that? Is he going to just scheme it up to where it's like, hey, this is what we got and this is what we're going to work with, and 80% of the time it's going to work?
Yeah, I thought that kind of reminds me of the other good quote I thought from Buster was, so he started going through kind of this, how they can have a play call that's kind of a one-word play call, and then they can just add a couple words, and it looks totally different to the defense, but it's really the same for the offense. And his quote was like, we're never going to give you the same picture, because he knows defensive has tablets now, and you've got all this stuff where you can watch in-game film. And so if you just keep showing them the same exact look every time, these guys are going to figure it out. So he said, we're never going to show you the same picture. So he showed us kind of a pass concept he had where somebody's in the flat. He's like, we can line up to it where this guy's in the flat. We can motion him across. Now he's in the flat. We can shift, and this guy's in the flat. We can motion somebody behind him or have the running back take. But it's for the quarterback, it's the same exact picture. So I thought that was interesting. But he really seems, and this is what you've heard Sumrall speak about him a ton. Every time he mentions him or is asked about him, he mentions his flexibility. The fact that he started in like the pure uncut air raid of Hal Mumming and Leach from Chris Hatcher. Like that's not been watered down. I mean, that's like the pure stuff. And then he's gotten into Georgia Tech, which is totally different look, right? A ton of counter, a ton of gap schemes. So kind of a totally different look, totally different kind of quarterback. So I think he's just going to adjust it to whatever these guys do best. And that's why you've heard Sumrall talk about how flexible he is, and that's one of the big reasons he hired him. So, I think they're going to do the stuff he likes, but he's also has that ability to change things up if he needs to.
This kind of goes very on par with what we had you on, we broke down that Buster offense of like his ability to almost kind of overcome his weaknesses while still exposing the defense's weaknesses. And I mean, I love that mentality of like, look, like at some point you've got to work with the cards that you're dealt, like control what you can control.
Yeah.
And even in the presser yesterday, Sumrall was kind of talking, because I guess the scrimmage was very up tempo at times. So then I would say as beat writers and fans are conditioned to be like, if we see something, we think that's going to be the new way. Like, that was kind of how the old regime ran. It was like there was no surprises coming. There wasn't if it showed a rhythm, like that was going to be it. So they're all asking, "Are we going to be a tempo-esque team now?" And he's like, "Brother, like we're playing football." And I kind of love the response of like, "Well, no, we're not here to be a one-trick pony. Like the game called for us to throw tempo. We throw tempo. If the defense was trying to throw, to slow it down, we would have slowed it down a little bit. Like it's not that just black and white of like this is who we are going to be. We are going to score points and make your life hell. That's who we are going to be. And whatever that involves, whether it's slowing it down, speeding it up, bending you over backwards, that's what we're going to do."
But he does have to understand that the only thing we have to go back off of is what we've seen the last.
No, I don't think
years.
he was frustrated. I think that's why he's making his statements. He doesn't seem
irritated. And there was no tempo in that offense. Well, if you call it tempo, it's it's like throwing on the old smooth jazz radio at midnight.
Well, it had a tempo. We just couldn't get into the tempo, right? It's like a golf swing. Like you always want to try to be in tempo, and so. But if something's off, you can't get into a flow. Remember when we scored? I think it was it LSU or Miami? We scored. We were like, we thought we were back because we found a rhythm. We had a tempo.
Second quarter coming out. It was I don't know. I can't remember what game, but second quarter coming out. First,
I think it was LSU. Yeah, we were back.
Yeah,
we were going to win the Natty, and then the next drive we were in fact not back.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think something Sumrall said yesterday is kind of where it's at now. So at first it was if you're really fast, defenses couldn't catch on. Like, and you've even heard if you go back and listen to, a guy like Kirby talking about it, 5-6 years ago, even that they had to totally change how they called plays on defense because the tempos got so fast. Well, everyone's made that change now. So Sumrall talked yesterday about where it's going now and what the best offenses do is they can change it up. They can go from really fast to really slow or look really slow and then break the huddle really fast. And that's something I think they're going to do, which is the most difficult thing. Because if you go really fast, teams can get used to it. Like remember, Florida winning the 2008 championship against Oklahoma. Oklahoma was really fast, but okay, so Florida had like 3 scout teams ready to go back to back to back in practice. So they got used to the speed. So the speed wasn't an issue in the game. Now, if you're not sure a team's going to go really fast, like Sumrall was talking about yesterday, it's hard to know as a defensive coordinator, do I got time to look at the picture and get my play call in?
Yeah.
Do I have time to hear what the personnel is and get a play call in? Or do I just got to get a play call in? So I think that's going to be kind of where they're at. So it was good to hear him talk through it like that. Because that is the hardest thing is to match or to vary tempo and then find that. But if you're really slow or really fast and that's all you do, even if you're really fast, it becomes somewhat easier to defend because you get in that rhythm defensively where okay, we've got to do this, this, and this. If you change it up a lot, you can't really find that rhythm as a play caller.
Yeah, and I think that's what's special. I mean, I watched our high school team do that. We run, I call it the toxic tee, but we were on the wing tee, which is usually a slow, grinding, methodical offense. And then we have this new coach that is kind of a little bit of Heupel-esque, and he's like, "Oh no, we're changing." I mean, that thing was like a washing machine out of balance. You never know. I mean, they'd go warp speed to where it was like as soon as the ball was down, they were running, and then they would go all the way down to, 25, 30 seconds a play. And when that really is what puts stress on the defense because you don't know if you can sub. You don't know if you're going to get your players on and off. You don't the picture is always changing because of the variable of speed. I think that's one of the most important things you can do to an offense, and if you do have a struggling offensive line, I think that can help that.
Yeah, and it's much harder as a coordinator too. I think it's a lot more difficult to do it that way. But you have to have some mastery of what you're doing to be able to do it that way. In my
tempo,
opinion.
I think is great for college kids too. Is it removes the art of thinking, right? You just go, you go do it. Now there's obviously caveats of that where you can get too fast and kind of trip over your own feet. So there's that part of it too, but. I think especially for these guys, it's just easy just to go out there and just play ball. Like you don't even have a chance to think about what you could do wrong. We talked about a quote from your show with Dave. I don't know exactly where it came from, and I wanted to pick your brain because I don't know if it came from this event or something else about Troutwine talking about the offensive line. and some guys not making it?
Yeah, I guess he had somebody in his Discord. He had somebody anonymous that went there and kind of said that. But I had my O-line coach was there with me. He wrote up with me, and he went and listened to it. And he did say, I asked him about it, and he said, yeah, Troutwine said they're dealing with there's some attitude issues that they're working on. So with some guys apparently, yeah.
So will you play a game with us?
Oh yeah.
Will you play? Who do you think it is? Can we?
Oh, I have no idea.
Well, we know that. That's why it's a game. We're trying to. We were playing it off of like, okay, well, what we've heard, right, and kind of who we know, and what do we think? I mean, the problem is we're not trying to like pick anyone out because we can be completely off the mark here.
Yeah,
but we're literally just looking at.
Yeah,
names.
we're not trying to get rolled up while we're getting autographs.
Well, trust me. So I was trying to be like, all right, I'm gonna be real. I'm really smart. I'm gonna be real sneaky. I'm gonna see which offensive line group is in all these clips with these quarterbacks. That's got to be the first team unit. I'm like, I'm gonna write these guys down. It was a bunch of different.
They had you in a blender.
Yeah, like Mr. Crab Swirl. So I really don't think they have it figured out who that 5 is. It seems like they may have a group, but man, there were different groups all the time. You couldn't tell who was 2s, who was 1s.
Can you tell me who wasn't in those groups?
No, because it was just so. I mean, it was different. I'm trying to think, and I'm still like learning. Like some of these transfers, I'm still learning who they are. I look at the roster sometimes, like, all right, it's going to take me till August to kind of get all these names locked in. But my offensive line coach liked the Moore kid that transferred over from Georgia Tech.
Yeah,
liked him a lot. Thought he was a really good mover, and I think he's gotten some reps at center, maybe. I saw. I don't think he was in the starting group that I heard for the scrimmage, but I saw Zandamela in there with it a little bit. I'm trying to think who else. Shanahan was in there quite a bit. I think Kearney was in there.
TJ got some love yesterday in the presser from Sumrall about like there's 2 guys. I love the analogy about cracking the egg in the center of your chest. Is like,
so I would assume he's in that starting group. I don't think Sumrall.
I would assume he's not part of the bad attitude list either.
Yeah. This guy's super physical, but yeah, he was, I don't. I'm guessing with how Sumrall coaches, that is a premium.
He also comes from
just the players that we're not hearing from. We're not hearing from any of the true freshman offensive line, and then we're not.
Well, that's why I was like, well, Matt, maybe because I'm getting. Like, I was going to say, Seth, because you've seen. I mean, you see all these names. It's like maybe it's names that are being. Because here's the thing: the names that we're hearing about aren't always from the coaches. It's from people observing practice. You can have a bad attitude and still play good football, right? Like, I mean, maybe not. You would usually assume if you're not happy, you're not going well, but you could probably. Those first few weeks you may have been okay, and then now it's like, well, what? Let me ask you this, Seth. Being around, like maybe your coach had an insight. Being a coach yourself, maybe you could elaborate on this. What would cause someone not to be bought in this particular situation this early on? I get the gauntlet thing not being bought in. That's hell. Like I do and I don't. But like I could see where someone's like, this is stupid because there's zero reward for that. Right. And it's just like they're just putting us through abuse for no reason. You have Troutwine, who has, in my opinion, one of the best pedigrees of coaching this position. Like, where would the question mark be?
My only guess, and it is a total guess, so don't take this as gospel or anything. My only guess would be from talking to my guy that went and listened to him. Troutwine's like super old school, even in how he teaches it. He's like really old school, and so there have been some different styles. There's a offensive line thing called tip of the spear, which is like a big, like, get your head out of it. It's like a big movement. And I guess he said, I hate tip of the spear. So there's very possible that some of these guys have been raised being taught this certain way. And he's like, yeah, we don't do that. And so I'm sure it could be the fact like their coaches are like, have told them their whole lives, oh, we do this way. It's so much smarter. It's that. And Troutwine's like, nah, I don't like that. We're doing it more old school. So I don't know. That's a total guess on my part. But that could be it, where he's like more like, we're going to get our face in there. We're going to block people. This is how he learned from Adazio. And then he also mentioned Jeff Stoutland as one of his mentors. So like his mentors he mentioned, according to my guy, were Adazio, Jeff Stoutland, and then Dante Scarnecchio. So Stoutland's been the guy that's coached the Eagles offensive line forever, like just retired, and then Skarnecki was the guy that was with the Patriots forever.
Those are good guys.
Pretty
yeah,
solid offensive lines,
good,
I would
pretty
say.
pretty
golly,
good.
How many gold jackets have they produced?
Pretty good mentors. So, but he was a little bit more old school. It seems like Troutman's a little bit more kind of in the older school, and maybe that's what you want.
Two parts. That's a lot. Brain spinning because I want to know more about the tip of the spear thing. So that's a technique.
It's like a whole. It's and some like really well respected guys are in it. It's kind of get your head out of the block and independent hands and like. I'm not super well versed on like the real technical side of the offensive line play, but it is kind of a system of. I think the big thing is like your head is not involved. You're kind of getting your head out. You're using your hands. It's just a little bit different. Like I was saying, Troutman's like I want that face mask in the chest, almost like I want to be locked on. We don't want any separation from our hands and or our body and that guy's body. We want to get on him and drive him. So
that would make a ton of sense. I mean, we're all scientists here. That's a great hypothesis that could be the reason because you got to think like a guy. And here's the other part I was thinking about. Very similar to the quarterback room we had with DJ. Of like these cats all have their own like set of coaches now.
Yes.
And so especially offensive line.
Yes.
Yeah. Major issue. It's good and bad, right? It's good that they're putting that much effort into it.
You know what? I'm gonna just say this. I've never.
No, I wasn't going.
I've never seen one of these off campus coaches do anything.
Well, look, I think that it's good to have. Again, I agree. There's good to it. The bad to it is if you're not on the same page with your current coach, where it becomes an issue. And if that other coach is fighting against what that guy's trying to teach, then it becomes an issue. I'm not against having a when you're having off season, having a guy that you go to and sharpen your tools, like that's what you want, like ideally. But the point I think, and that makes a ton of sense of like, if you've worked on this technique for the last 3 years and this guy comes in like, yeah, you're not doing that. And you have made your living off of this and have basically probably worked your way up the ladder this way. And now they're saying, like, yeah, we're not going to do that anymore. That'd be a bit frustrating.
And it's also possible that like as your coaches were pitching this technique to you, they're telling you the old way of doing it was stupid and dangerous. So you're like
he's shitting on the old way. It's not even the fact that like, hey, like that's
so
okay.
Are they wanting to get?
I think you may get kids that are like, we're not keeping our head out of it. Like that's my coaches told me that that's archaic and caveman football and and Troutman's like, yeah. That's how we're doing it, bro. Like, there's no change. And I wasn't in there, so I can't totally speak to it. But that's just a total guess on my part. And I think anytime a new guy comes in and maybe wants to do things a little differently, and I don't really know how the last staff did it. I wasn't super plugged in with how they did offensive line stuff. So that could be kind of because a lot of coaches when you're trying to pitch the way you do something, some guys will be like because this other way is dumb. Yeah. Not just because this is the best way, just because it's otherwise dumb, it's dangerous. Yeah. So if you've been told that and this guy's coming in, like, we're going to do it this way, and you're thinking in the back of the head, well, my last coach who I liked said this was dumb and dangerous. Like, maybe you don't go all in.
What do you think?
That's my best guess.
No, do you think it's dumb and dangerous?
No, I mean, it's football.
Okay.
It's all dangerous.
Yes.
I mean, yeah.
Like,
I think
is my
so
they're
trying to block with they're trying to block with extension, right? Is that basically what this is, to get your hands out in front of you and your head out of their chest?
Like tip of the spear?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's long levers, I think. Jim McNally's like a really famous offensive line coach. He's kind of big on that, I think. But it's really like it started kind of getting your head out of it, getting your head out of the block, right? Is I think kind of one of the bigger selling points of it. I'm not super versed on it, but I that's kind of my understanding is that like that's one of the big things on it. So some guys do that. I think DeCoster was one of those guys, I think, because I think he's a McNally, Bill Callahan guy. So I think there's really good coaches kind of on either side of this thing. And it is really kind of like, how you've learned it, how you teach it. But that could be maybe the divide there. Just new way of doing things, and you've always done it the other way, and you're just somewhat hesitant to fully buy in just because you've had, like you said, you've had success doing one way.
More sense.
you've had success doing it one way for a long time, and this new guy's coming in saying we're going to do it this way. So
you got to look back. Listen, the Florida offensive line has been good since the Pouncey, so they need all the.
Well, I don't think the technique is necessarily the issue because, like you said, there's people that have success with it. I think personally, kind of how like listening to you and now kind of thinking of like I think Barber was a huge component of this. I think it led to why these guys were getting absolutely just cooked off the edge because if you don't have the strength and the proper technique to get your hands out there quickly enough, you're getting cooked. Versus you're kind of getting more into it and you're throwing it, you're kind of meeting the defender versus waiting. I feel like that's kind of sounds like a little bit of the difference here, the nuance. And I guess where the dangerous could come from is if you're getting your head in it, that's where maybe the concussions come and play.
Yeah.
Because you're now using your head as support. But again, I'm sure there's a right way of doing that too. That prevents.
It's called you work your neck out. I mean, strong necks have been proven to embrace for concussions. There was a great. I think it was actually Russia that the Russian Olympic wrestling team did a study where if you had a neck size that was over a certain circumference, that the concussions would go down like 65%. Just in neck strength because you don't have the whipping effect.
He works his overnight. He's up at 3:00 in the morning. This is
we had this neck press machine in high school.
Weird time for me. Right in the middle of his Russian documentary hour.
Reading Russian neck girth documentary.
That's a weird time.
No. So
right
it's neck strength. Time. Neck strength is extremely important in wrestling. Like you actually flip over on your head and you warm the neck up before every wrestling meet. So we have this thing called a neck press machine where you had a 45-pound plate and you literally put your head in this contraption and it was on and you would do neck presses. And that was a standard. Every single day we had to do neck presses.
That's all I've been doing to break the 40, neck presses.
Yes, correct. No, my neck is not as juicy as what it used to be.
All right. Seth, this is me. Go ahead.
So his concussion risk just went up.
That's factual.
We took way too much of your time, so I apologize, but it's always a blast having you on, man. This has been great. Thank you for all the insights. Tell them where they can find you and where they can keep up with you, man. Again, it's always a pleasure having you on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I had Seth Varnador on Twitter, at Varnador Films on YouTube. Those are pretty much the only two places. Boys, thanks for having me. Cody, wishing you great luck in that 40, man.
Yeah, what'd you say? Stride length and
stride length times stride frequency. So if they're not long steps, you got to get a lot of them in.
I hear you.
He hit 5.7 the other day, Seth. How you feeling?
On concrete and tennis shoes.
Good luck, brother.
Oh man, Seth, be good, man. I appreciate you.
All right, man. See you guys.
See you, man. Great stuff from Seth Varnador, man. He's a blast. We took way too much of his time, but man,
I could have had him on for another hour.
Yeah, I know. I mean, we could have had him on for 3 hours. That tip of the spear
thing's very interesting.
Very, very. Yeah, I think so. And Harris was talking about like more demanding, which that kind of seemed like the basis, right? I feel like that's like the easy cop out of that. He's just demanding more of them. But to me, that would drive me batty. Like if you are just quitting because it's more demanding, then you're a just full on beta bitch. And I'm trying to give the benefit of the doubt that there's no way. I'm not. There is. I know that there is. But I can't, I don't want to, like, my thing, that drives me batty if I think these kids are getting paid whatever, $250,000 and they're being pansy asses because it's a little bit too hard. It wouldn't even be a discussion. Like, you can leave now, dog. But I do have a little more respect of, like, you've been trained and conditioned to go a certain way, a certain technique. And then he's like, yeah, that's a dumb way of doing it. And Troutwine doesn't seem to be the kind of guy of, like, let's have a smooth transition. Let's do this, right? Let me help you buy into this. They don't have time for that, right? So that I have a little more of an understanding of. Now,
it does make some sense too when you're talking something that would have been drilled into their head for the last couple of years of safety.
Well,
we're not doing
that
this.
To me is a bigger thing of, like, you've been told by the last coach that this is going to cause, this is why CTE's up 75% is because of this technique, blah, 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 blah. Then this guy comes in, he's like, yeah, they're all idiots. I don't care about you. Not that he's saying that, but that's how you can envision it. And then again, you still have, I'm sure, your separate set of coaches that you have that are like, yeah, he's an idiot. And now you have conflicting information. And you've got one guy who you met 3 months ago, regardless of his pedigree, and you have another guy that you've worked with your entire life that got you to this point. And so we may all think like, oh, it's like, look, well, one guy's got me here to this. Like, you're going to have a little more trust in that. It'd be no different for you and I. Like, sometimes you give me advice and I've known you longer, but if I go ask somebody who's been doing this longer, you're like, oh, that guy's an idiot. I'm like, well, Cody, they've been doing this a lot longer than we have. We should slow down for a minute. So, you know, it's the same boat. Like, we've had those exact conversations.
Well, and you really, I guess the only head scratcher for me is if you, especially in the weight room, that's a thing. Like, weight room guys are very like, some guys believe in knees over toes. Some guys think that causes ACL strains and ACL tears. Some guys believe in heavy lifting. Some guys believe in kind of, hey, listen, we don't need to load the bar up with all the weight in the world for you to do it one time. We'll measure it off of speed. Let's be smart about it. And so, you know, and we have heard that Florida's offensive line has grown in the weight room and grown in an attitude of the way that they are doing things in the weight room. I guess that's the only head scratcher for me is, you know, why grow in the weight room and believe that philosophy unless it's just like, oh no, this is just leaps and bounds better, and not buy into the whole thing.
Yeah, that's why, again, for me, I was like, I feel like what would have made more sense is like them not by being bought in at the gauntlet, because that would be like, okay, you're just being a pansy, which I would have not been a fan of either. But I think Seth's theory is spot on, right?
Yeah.
And you could still show flashes and look good and have things compliment you, but not be bought in on the technique. You know what I mean? And then maybe like early on, like kind of Phil was like a little bit more lenient on it. Again, guys, this is all hypothesis. We're just spitballing here.
You got it doesn't matter. They're not listening. You told them the time. You set the time.
You told them the time the other day.
I just told them it was sub 6.
Oh,
so now they're all in. Yeah, they're trying to do math and convert the traction from tennis shoes to concrete to cleats to turf and the.
I love how the chat just like catches on or something and just runs.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's
my bad. I remember you telling me the times, and then I remember you coming on and saying it, and so I thought you. I mean, it doesn't really matter, but like it
doesn't matter. Yeah,
we knew we were gonna have work to do anyways, so I mean which just makes it even better.
Yeah.
Look, what people don't know is that what led to that. So that's also good. Look, to me, when I heard that number, I didn't panic. I actually I felt more like, okay, like we're in a good place. Personally.
Oh, for sure.
Like we always guys, sub 5 was hard. We knew like there's like we're gonna have to have a little bit of a miracle on that day. Like the wind's got to be blowing a certain way. There isn't gonna be any wind on the inside, but maybe like a little angels in the outfield type moment. Like y'all seen the movie, right? Like when Matthew McConaughey's like, yeah, I just something like it grabbed me. That's what Cody's gonna need. We already knew this, and somebody said the line should have moved to 5-5. I've already said that as well too. I had this conversation like 2 months ago with Cody of like, hey, like love the sub 5 before he had ran anything. I just did simple math of like what would be impressive given like his metrics, and I was like, sub 5 would be really, 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 really dope. And you kind of want that hoorah moment, and he's like, no, we're leaving it at 5. I was like, all right, whatever. Like it doesn't matter to me. You gotta go do something you've never done before. Like you're touching something you've never, you haven't even seen that world. So something, a miracle is gonna have to happen. We already knew this. You're putting the work though.
I can tell you, we shut it down early at 5.7. I'll just tell. So the first run was 6.4. So we started off at 6.4 for the official double placebo tested verified rangefinder and I have like a long tape measure, like a meter tape measure. So double verified, it is a 40-yard dash. The first one was 6.4. Just in technique changes and tweaks, we got it down to a 5.7 in the matter of 3 runs.
Two. 2.
To me, actually 2.
Yeah, I think that's.
And we shut her down early.
And so, and you've been doing a little more like kind of honing in on like I Peter like 0.8's a lot to shave off. I know it's a lot to shave off. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not sitting and saying, hey, the guy's going to go run a sub 5 in 5 minutes. But again, this was never going to be, it was always going to be a big stretch. For me, the closer we can get, the better.
Yeah.
So,
and might just
I agree. I think 5
that day.
Personally for me, if it's like if I see like a 5-2, 5-3, I'm going nuts. Yeah. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like that's gonna be me. Sub 6. I'm even giving you shit you wouldn't get under sub 6. So
I know there's a lot of people that can't roll out of bed and just run a sub 6 after knowing what I know now. Like it's a technique thing. It's harder than what people think.
So my sub 6 was pretty impressive then when I did it.
Yeah,
I think if I would
rolling off the couch,
I think off your regiment, I would have been pretty. My hammy just finally like cleared up. Like I haven't it was throttling me for a couple of days. It finally just slowed down a little bit. But real quick, we got to give a huge shout out to our sponsors here today at PrizePicks. Let's talk about them for just a few moments here. I put a little lineup together tonight, boys. I went the baseball route. We don't have any options, obviously, in the sporting sphere right now in regards to football and whatnot. But baseball is hot and rolling. Basketball is just too chaotic for me. I stuck with the arms here on PrizePicks. Okay, I took Paul Skeens. The guy is averaging right now. I think it was 6 strikes a game. So I took him more than 5.5 against Cincinnati. Starts in a couple of hours, and then I got Christopher Sanchez, who's averaging, I think, 7.5 strikes a game, more than 5.5. So felt like the odds were in my favor. These guys have hit this mark the last 6 games in a row. Paul had a poor outing his first game, but has been on an absolute tear. I think he's like 8.7 strikes. So the average is a little bit skewed because the game won. And then I've got a pitching duel with the Braves up there. So there's a little bit of a homer pick, but Chris L and Servino. The reason I'm liking pitchers early in the season is usually bats are a little bit cold, right? So I'm taking advantage of the time of year right now. So less than half runs allowed. Note neither pitcher will allow runs. We have 0-0 going out, so we're cheering for 0 runs in the first inning for that. So nice little pickup there for PrizePicks. Be sure to check them out. New user offer. Play $5, get $50 in lineups to download the app using code HMA. Okay. HMA is the code you're going to be using. The link is in the description. You can also take a look. You can follow us along if you guys want to come and hang out and see our picks and follow. Again, they have the entire social media platform on this thing of what you can follow certain people and tail it, or you can go completely against what I am trying to do. You see all the sports they have available. Again, it's NBA or baseball right now are the 2 big ones. Golf would be an interesting one that I might dive into next week with it being the Masters. So keep your eyes peeled if you guys want to tail me on that. That'll be something I've never really dove into, but I will be diving into it probably later next week because that should be a good time. So PrizePicks has features that allows you to follow your friends and others on the app like you would any social media platform. Followers can see total wins, total amount of money, total top 3s of all times, pending lineups, and all those great things. So be sure to check that out. PrizePicks is America's #1 sports pick app, or PrizePicks, and it's really easy to use. Just pick more or less a few player stats and lock in your lineup. Again, download the app today. When you play your first $5, you get $50 in lineups. Download the app and use the code HMA. PrizePicks. Run your game. All right. The prof is back. Dubster's back. Good to see him. Pluto's back.
All is right with the world.
We were worried about T-Dub. Some question marks of where these guys were in the chat. I think I saw Pluto has got himself an old lady. Those can really throw you on a tangent.
Oh,
It could get you off,
especially a new one.
Yeah, they'll get you wobbling. They'll get you out of the routine for sure. Here's what you got to do, Pluto. You got to introduce her to the boys. You've got to make her realize like this is your habit. You come on and you hang out with a bunch of degenerates, and we talk about grown men that are 4'9", okay, basically dwarfs running, sub 540s. So that's what we do here. All right. So she needs to make that part of her daily routine. If it needs to get to the point, Pluto, that when you guys are out and about and if we go live, she's pulling us up first. Okay. If not, then she's not the one. We got to move on. Okay. That's all that I'm saying. And then when we call in, she should be calling in waiting before you call in, Pluto. Okay. That's how you know that we're dialed. All right? So there's that. Christopher Buller became a member today. Welcome to the family, my friend. I want to say this real quick, guys. This has kind of been on the DL. It's been on the back end, on the underground scope. Okay. We've got something in the works here at the sports and high top industry. Okay. Yeah, I said it backwards. What's up? I'm feeling good. All right. We got a website that's being put together that'll knock your nutsack off. I'm telling you, you ever been thumped in the nuts? That's what this is going to do to you. Okay. And the reason why I tell you that is becoming a member is going to be huge of that integration. The flow of it is going to be absolutely incredible. We are trying to bring what we bring on this show every day into a website-esque form to make it to where, like, we want it to be where you go on High Top Sports, you don't have to leave the site. You go to High Top Sports, you get what you want. You want to check recruiting? We got you. You want to check schedules? We got you. You want to check on who's on the staff? We got you, dog. You want to see what Shelton and Cody and the boys have their prize pick lineup is for that day? We got you, dog. Oh, you want a message board to talk shit about Cody's 40? Right? You want to start a forum? We got you. Okay? Oh, you want to have, I don't know, maybe a little bot to talk to ask questions? We got you. We got you. So it's on the up and up, baby. We close. We close. $5, Sheldon. Did you see how Jaden Woods was shooting out of a cannon? I mean, that kid's absolutely phenomenal. And Truff, I watched the quarterback interviews. I got to be honest with you. I was how you've harassed me about these things. I thought I was going to be blown away. Great interviews. Just as much as you yelled at me about them, I thought it was going to be just groundbreaking info. I love you, Truff. Good morning. Glad y'all can join us while I was out. Got us a commit. Yeah, Martha would be harassing me, guys. If we don't do a show, she's like, "Where are you?"
Yeah.
If we're not doing 3 shows a day, she's like, "You guys are a bunch of bums." What is basically how it happened. Juju, $5. Show up today with purpose. The effort you give right now is building the life you've been working and praying for. You are all loved and valued. Juju. That's how you wake up in the boys. That's how you get going.
Can I address this real fast? This is.
I got more shit. Okay. $5. Did we see that Hiller canceled? Yes. Thank you, Brett. Great. We'll come back to that.
Go.
We'll come back to that, actually. We'll come back to that. Fun for Pluto's money on Cody, $2. We'll come back to you, Brett. Go ahead. What do you have to say, Cody?
Dog. This clown.
Which one?
This one. Like, will you just keep my motherfucking name out of your mouth, dog? Like, all you do.
It's the morning.
All you do is talk shit about me. Like, now you're saying I'm going to come up lame on race day?
I don't even know how to.
Just shut up. I'd roll through that thing in a wheelchair if I had to.
Come up lame. What does that even mean?
Like I'm going to fake an injury.
Oh, that's what lame means?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Never. I never expected that.
Yeah.
Well, I also didn't think that you would know call no show either. So at this point, anything.
He's always in the comments. He's a pussy, but never calls in.
I've never seen it.
Hey, we have a call-in show. We have a call-in show like every Thursday. Call in, get in the box, pussy. Call in and get in box.
It's the morning.
My bad, Andrew P. Penn. I know. Sorry for the kids.
Oh my goodness.
You said the B word earlier.
That didn't count. That's different. B word you can say on the air. That's on TV. B word's on TV.
I guess so.
It is.
Okay.
It is. Yeah, it's a horse racing term. Horse pulls up the gate lame. Okay. All right. Good. Cody's dialed. I didn't know Cody was well versed in that stuff.
Oh, horse racing, yeah, dialed back.
Sammy just became a new member and probably just unsubscribed after that rant. Let's talk about this. Yeah, I did see this actually. An Ohio State message board said that he has canceled his visit to Ohio State, which why I wanted to talk about this. Because we have, and a few more crystal balls for Mari Patterson, who was a name that was thrown in the mix for yesterday's show when we were discussing eyes up here, Cody. The calculator, right? When we were breaking down those players. Why I love seeing this though, because how many times? I mean, again, it's another scenario where it's a 180 from last regime. We would have all this great momentum. We have all these great guys. We're leading the way, and they're like, well, they're gonna go visit these 9 other schools first. And we never hear about him again. This to me is like, hey, whatever happened this weekend, why the crystal balls are flowing through is that they had great conversations. And it's basically like, if you're going to commit to us, you don't need to go anywhere else.
Yeah.
Let's lock. Hey, we want to lock it in. Let's lock it in. To see this, bro, like this is some shit that we've been dying for. You know what I mean? Like, I always kind of supported the fact that, hey, like, go visit because you kind of have to have some confidence in yourself. But I started realizing, I was like, dog, we ain't got that swagger to let people walk. You got to get it when they're in. You got to lock the Lions in.
Yeah, and this isn't like he's going to cancel the visit with the University of Maryland or something. This is freaking Ohio State. Well, and up here and then up into the north where he is from. I mean that's a premier program. Like Ohio State gets to go into all these northern states and pick who they want. Like you get an offer from Ohio State, like it's a done deal. You're just going. If there's no NIL talk, like that's what kids dream about here in the Midwest and up Virginia, Maryland, that little area there is can I get the offer to Ohio State? Like that's just it's that and then everybody's second. Or Pennsylvania, I know he's a Pennsylvania kid, so it's that and then everybody's like Ohio State trumps Penn State any day of the week when it comes to offer letters.
No, I think it's huge that we able to shut that down. And I agree. Like that's a big area.
What was his remaining top?
He still has Alabama too. That's in the mix. But again, I don't even think this visit this week was
Alabama. Just doesn't
have the same pump like it used to, right?
Especially in O-line. Yeah, it just doesn't feel like it used to shake a little bit.
Easy, Jeremy. Come on.
Kid show.
This is why you get worked up, Cody. For every hater, there's 45 lovers for you. You know what I mean? Like,
nah, that guy though.
Jeremy being your number one. I've never seen the guy. I've never seen him before.
Oh, he's always in the comments. He's usually in the after comments.
Okay. You always find the ones.
Yeah, remember I told him his bird's stupid. I was going to shoot it out of the air like a duck, and you're like, oh, jeez. My goodness, we're gonna get PETA.
I don't remember that, Cody. How many things you send me of us being on HR violation like every 5 minutes? I'm like, we're like on the like we have these conversations. Like you saw what you just saw, right, guys? That's tamed for how usually Cody snaps on the phone. And then he goes, I don't know why you get so worried about me, Sean. I don't know why you think that I would lose him. Like I have no idea why, Cody. I couldn't tell you. Couldn't tell you. No reason why I would panic for you to be solo on a show. Yeah, no idea why.
I mean,
if I wasn't here, this thing was off the rails.
For sure. Yeah, you're like my little life jacket.
Yeah, you would have wrote a book of cuss words. Like it would have been like
it would have got dicey. But that's why it works.
Luckily, I didn't even know what lame means. Sometimes it's good being dumb. I didn't even realize what he was trying to say.
Yeah. The HR department would be working overtime. We couldn't afford the overtime with all the violations.
Wait, look, the show still needs him. I'm not saying that, but sometimes Cody's like, "Hey, I can run." I'm like, "No, we're good." He's like, "You don't trust me?" And then I have to pull up clips like this of to run it yourself.
Yeah. Hey, when you're high energy and live off
to see us coming.
Yeah,
they do.
Live off the cuff. I mean, sometimes you get good, sometimes you get shit.
Yeah. The HR department is it's a stressful for whoever owns that is a I can't listen. Anybody I know someone who watch. I won't say their name. I know someone who watches the show watches in HR. Anybody who actually works in HR who I appreciate what, but I can't stand it. It drives me absolutely batty.
They're kind of the unsung heroes, though.
No,
because look, you're only getting complaints, and you're only getting new people that don't know what's going on. Like your only jobs are hiring, and Tom said a nasty joke at the water cooler, and it hurt my feelings. Like that's kind of a tough job to be in.
Oh, listen. I could never do it. I couldn't deal with the bullshit. What I don't like is the fact that there is an avenue there that if I say a bad joke at the water cooler, that I have to stress about so-and-so being upset and going to tell me on HR. Just take the joke and just say, hey, that's not funny, and I'll say it again later on because it was funny, and I'm sorry that you don't have a bad sense of humor. That's not my fault, okay?
Yeah, it's not a dick. You don't have to take it so hard.
Exactly. Look, here's the thing. I grew up, I talked to my dad, shout out to Justin, J-Mac. He got my my reference the other day when I talked to you about having crocodile sewn to your bare titties. Okay, it's a comedian, and that skit that I was referring to that I don't think anybody else got. It's pretty raunchy. It's very raunchy. All right, and it's about guy getting some cooter. All right, and but the way he tells it is hilarious. Like the story is hilarious. I listened to this when I was like 12 with my dad. So like the stuff that I grew up with, Dad, you probably I shouldn't have been listening to that probably, but I'm glad I did because now I'm well versed. So now I have the decision as a father: do I show my son these jokes? There was a great joke that my dad told me when I was like 11. It's not serious, but like you use a cuss word in it. And I remember I heard, I was like, this is the greatest joke ever. Because had a cuss word in it, but like things like that. Yeah. That's why I can't function in a normal world because what I think is normal and where my line is much further than most lines.
Try being me. It's a wonder.
Yeah. Going from the Marines, it's even different. Cody got the Sumrall in him. Don't overlook the gaze in his eyes, breaking 5 income. Let's go, Sammy Bammy. Sammy Bammy 813, baby. Let's talk about old Sammy real quick because we had his presser yesterday after obviously our practice. Again, we always get great insight from those pressers. I feel like there's nothing held back. So you told me about Hezzy Kent. I noticed it before the Hezzy Kent comment came to be. Because he was talking about the tight end room. Like he's not afraid to tell you who's doing well, who's not doing well. Spoke with the tight end room. Said that Luke Harping is kind of his best overall around guy, along with not Dupree, but the other guy we got. I can't think of his name right now. Kind of like your best overall guy, but Amir has a lot of great features, along with Lakata Dupree, and kind of Lakata is just kind of your punch you in the mouth. But talk about tight ends room, and that was it. Like he mentioned every tight end in that room, and he stopped. And you told me about the Hezzy Kent thing, and I was like, "Man, he didn't mention it."
Evan.
Oh yeah, Chakia. Yeah, Chakia. He does. He even mentioned Hezzy in this room, and then like later on, they were asking about injuries, and they're like, "Yeah, he's got a little foot thing. He's in the weight room," and then you could see it in his eyes. He was like, "He's got a boo boo. He's got to figure it out. He's got to lose some weight. Yeah, he's got to figure it out." That seems like I don't know. So ever since that first clip, we haven't heard too much about him. Again, keep in mind, this entire recruiting class didn't commit to John Sumrall. John Sumrall didn't recruit them. They committed to the University of Florida. So a handful of them are in for a rude awakening right now.
The more that I listen and watch John Sumrall, it does eerily remind me of Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer once said on a live questionnaire, that he thought maybe Black was a recruiting error by him.
Who was?
Black.
Okay.
I guess he had made a bad play or something. He goes, yeah, maybe that's just a recruiting error by me. Like saying you shouldn't have brought him in.
Yeah.
So the style of if you're not doing well, you're gonna listen when they ask about our position room, you're gonna hear about it.
Yeah.
I don't hate it. I don't really hate it.
I like, so again,
especially now that we're paying guys. These guys are, I mean, dog, they're professionals. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, and look, Urban did that when they weren't getting paid, and there was probably a little more. But again, you also couldn't leave, so you could get away with it. You had leverage there, but you know, with him calling them out, it's again like another complete 180 from the previous regime, where the last when we talked about when Billy showed up, kind of almost probably took second fiddle and wanted to make sure that everybody felt comfortable with him coming in. John's the complete opposite of like, I want you to be as uncomfortable as possible. And then if you can make it, then cool. But I don't care to make your time here fun. I don't care for it. He even said, he's talking about Jaden Ball. He's like, I don't care if he likes me. He's like, he goes, I'm trying to make him better. So if that makes him not, now why he said that, I don't know. But he goes, I want him to respect me, but I don't care if he likes me. Which I found very intriguing. But Yeah, he's not afraid to tell you how he feels, which is again very refreshing as well. You feel like you are getting information. Who shut down? Oh, Mason Clinton is shut down for the rest of practice. He said it's a back thing that's happening, so he's out for the rest of spring. Which that
sucks.
That does suck because he was. I mean, I kind of love seeing his progress.
That's the spot we talked about.
We couldn't afford. Yeah. And then again, we kind of talked about it with Seth a little bit. Brendan Bett, and I loved hearing about TJ Shanahan, just because this guy's a 4-year guy. I mean, he played at A&M, played at Penn State, wasn't really highly touted from on paper as a recruit, and even as a portal guy, but has worked alongside Troutwine. So to me, like when we were going through, like, hey, who's having a bad attitude? I was like, well, clearly it isn't the guys that have been doing it with him. But loved hearing like the physicality. And look, probably TJ may not be the biggest and may not have the most technically sound, but it sounds like he's not afraid to crack you and put his head into it. And which I get, to me, TJ is going to be a starter. Hearing what we knew already with the fact that this is going to be his 4th year. He's got a lot of snaps under his belt. Has already played in the system, and now hearing this, I'm going to go ahead and jot down TJ Shanahan as a starting guard. So you got to figure out your other 4 spots now, boy. That's what we got to figure out. Now, we talked about a name possibly and Harris being Najee Harris. And again, now that guard room is all of a sudden, this is a 4-year guy, and Najee, there's one spot open, and now you're looking at Jason Zamudella, Big Rod, and Harrison Moore kind of rotating between you, that center or that guard. And then you have Harris. 4 of those dudes are very viable people to play at that position, whether it be the center or that other guard. Your tackles are a complete different animal. So that guard room got pretty busy, I would say, than what maybe Najee was used to.
Could we see one of these Florida offensive linemen pull the disenroll and leave and go to another school?
Well, hearing, whenever we read the quote, I think it's going to happen. What Clinton plays D-line.
That'll be interesting. That'll be interesting to see if that happens. Because it seems like they kind of know their core guys, right? Like they say that they don't have any starters, but we keep hearing the same names over and over and over, and there are some names that we're not hearing.
I think there's about 7 guys they've got, 7 or 8 that they're pretty locked in on. I think the lock-in 5 is where it probably gets a little bit dicey. But I do believe, they've got a group. I don't think that it's just like a complete. There's layers to this thing, no doubt. I think they're trying to figure out that last bit of a layer. Really, I mean, look, I think we'll find out pretty quickly who has the bad attitude or not. We won't get a depth chart, but the spring game. You're not good. You told me who'd you say was going to be checked out?
Offensive line. There are some guys that we are not hearing of. Let me see real fast.
All the freshmen. We did it yesterday.
I know, but no, not even freshmen. Okay.
Here, I got them over here. What are you on? What page? We've got Jason Zamudella, Tyler Chunkum, who's a true freshman, Harrison Moore, Bryce Lovett, we've heard his name, Javari Lucas, true freshman. So it's hard to, we haven't really heard much. Tavarian Dice, we've heard him. Jahari Medlock, I've heard his name. Corey Brown, no idea who that is. Devere Carr which was a pretty highly touted freshman. Haven't heard much of him that I can recall.
At all.
Caden Jones, I feel like we did. Anything. Yeah, I feel like we did it first. More so of like, but haven't heard anything much since. Egan Boyer, heard a ton of. Amika, heard a ton from. TJ Shanahan, a ton from. Fletcher, but he's been injured, so it's hard to put any stock into that. Big Rod, I would say yes. Daniel Pierre-Louis, no. Mark Faircloth, no. Najee Harris, again, one to kind of keep an eye on. Desmond Green, true freshman, no. Chancellor Campbell, true freshman.
So there,
Caden Jones,
early. Bryce Lovett is kind of concerning. Najee Harris and Caden Jones for me. I feel like we haven't heard Bryce's name a whole lot. Like maybe early, and that's faded, and maybe that's one of the things where it's like it was cool in the beginning, and then now that's ramped up all the time. It's always at 10. Like people are starting to weather.
Oh, Corey Brown's is VB3. That's right. I forgot
Yeah,
VB3
little
little
brother. Yeah. So it's starting to get interesting, and it's starting to seem like it's a past prior regime thing. Not on all of them, but
Yeah, I agree. I don't think we should be hearing of the freshman names anyway, so that doesn't really
Yeah.
concern me. That's why it's hard to put like, oh, those are the guys that are pouting.
but I mean these guys you've had in the system. Najee Harris, Caden Jones, Big Rod we've talked about has to step up. Zemandela.
To be honest with you,
Bryce Lovett.
We haven't heard much from Zamedella since the week 1.
I mean, Caden Jones is a redshirt junior. Najee Harris is a senior. Bryce Lovett is a redshirt junior.
We haven't heard much from Jason Zamedella.
We haven't.
Not since the early weeks.
Yeah, and that's like, it's like when you spray Roundup on the weeds. It's like, oh, is this stuff working? And then day 3, in the heat, you get some sun on it, and it's withering away. When they're ramped up to 10 24/7, and you're like, oh yeah, this is cool, change of pace, and then it's practice 10. It's 3 months of this where it's just constant in your face, and the intensity is high. It wears. I think it's starting to wear on people, and I think it's starting to weather some non-believers away.
Yeah, and again, I think you kind of nailed it on the head of like, hey, going through practice, putting the effort is there, but then I'm sure if he's like trying to do the old technique and they're ripping him a new one every time he does the old technique, it's like, okay, maybe it wasn't what we thought we were because they're not putting the effort in to do what we've asked. So a lot of stuff there. A lot of stuff there. Well, gentlemen, I mean, great show. Huge shout out to Seth Varnador. Jam-packed here this morning on this beautiful day. Tomorrow, bad news. I don't think I can do a show tomorrow morning. I'm not no calling no show, and I'm putting my PTO in now. I have to get to work earlier than anticipated.
What's tomorrow?
It's usually the
call-in show.
Yeah, and no,
that's 2 weeks in a row.
Don't even ask. See this because Cody, I could handle it. That would be the last show I let Cody run by himself. But tomorrow night,
just reschedule Friday for the call-in show.
Well, I don't know because Steve's gonna be going to practice on Thursday, and if we can get Steve on the morning show for Friday, I think that would hit like crack.
He's here right now. Ask him,
Steve. Well, that's why I said that. I'm putting him on the spot because see him in the chat now. He can't tell people no. And the fact that he shows up to the show every morning lets me know that he has. Now he's driving though, so maybe he can't do. But he's on me and Cody. That would be the last thing that I do. Because then Steve would just feed Cody. Steve would not be the responsible adult.
We would probably get banned off YouTube, a week before.
Steve and Cody. No, Steve and Cody would be perfect if I could manage from behind the scenes, but I couldn't let those two just run.
We just need
the show. Well, the show would be 6 hours long.
You just need this.
Yeah, the show would be 6 hours long. Wait, scrimmage Saturday? You're going to the scrimmage Saturday, not Thursday? Change of plans. See, now Steve's lying to us because he doesn't want to be on up early Friday. See how he's doing that to us?
That's 2 weekends in Gainesville back to back. That could get dangerous.
Yeah. Steve might be in trouble. Steve might get in trouble. If you're on a scooter in Gainesville, heads up. All right? Just heads up.
Yeah, watch out.
Watch out. Smash the like button. Subscribe. Shout out to PrizePicks, our sponsor. You're going to hear a lot about PrizePicks, so buckle up. All right? We're rock and roll with them. But what else was I going to say? I think that's it.
So pending, maybe Friday we do a little.
Yeah, well, Friday we'll play it by ear. Yeah, but I was looking forward to tomorrow's show because there's a ton to talk about. But I just got a call this morning like, hey, you got to be here at this time. So, that's where we're at with that. So, but tonight we'll be live 8:35, best day of the week with Swoldy and Hollywood. So that should be an awesome show. And then tomorrow night will be a banger. Well, of course, we've got the Gator Summit with Allie and Gator Dave over on the Gator Summit channel. So be sure to tune in to that one, which will be great. So plenty of content coming your way. No need to fear. The boys are here. And then, of course, next week's going to be an absolute blast. I cannot wait to get rock and rolling on that one as well. So next Friday, Cody, we're almost there, buddy.
Are we doing a post spring game synopsis maybe the day after? I just need to know if I'm bringing my laptop or not.
Bring it. Be an adult. It takes. Okay. I mean, what are we doing? I mean, you got to be prepared. You got to be prepared.
Okay, I'll pack it.
I would assume we would do it Saturday night.
Okay, that'll work.
Once I get home and watch the Masters, we'll do it Saturday night, like 8:30, and then
Okay.
and we'll probably do a synopsis on the Summit on Sunday night. Maybe I'll get with them because we're gonna start doing that. Not that's early, but it'll be a good time to roll one out. But yeah, because I'm leaving right after the spring game.
I just need to know what gear I need to pack because I'm not packing my roadcaster and everything. So
Yeah, we'll talk because you need to get a travel setup.
I do. This thing's small. It's tiny.
Yeah, I have one.
It's right there.
Oh, that is real
The
tiny.
mini.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh.
It's the mini.
oh, okay. Yeah, that's actually pretty legit. I have the. I mean, you've seen the ones that I have, but
Yeah, I can run my video and everything right off here.
Are you flying? You're flying, right?
Flying? Yeah.
James, I'm doing the shirt at our tailgate. They'll be at our tailgate on Saturday morning for the spring game shirts. So, damn. Our RC says Cody will make it next week. Freaking spring snowstorm.
When?
And where?
Where?
Do you live in
I'm
Canada?
leaving. I'm leaving like Thursday.
I think that
I'll drive down before I miss it. Like that. We ain't got to worry about that. We ain't got to worry about me showing up. As opposed to, probably the joke that's about
you
to
might
come
be
in.
a little. You
Yeah.
might be lame.
Yeah, might be lame.
All right, boys. Great show. Good to see you. A lot of jam-packed stuff on this beautiful Wednesday morning. We're rocking and rolling. We ain't slowing down. We'll see you guys later on tonight live at 8:35. We know, Jeremy. You're going to go pick Cody up, drink his juice. We know.
It's Hot Top Sports with a
Wild.
touchdown.
That's wild to say right before.
Fist more to bring in 5 Cowboys out riding bold. Bulls calling bets, watch the stories unfold.
Family show.
And you